Hello, Auntie. Hello, Brittany. Hey, y'all, good people. How are you today? I'm just trying to get up my other device here. See it, there, see it. It'll be going slow sometime. I hate it. That's good, Brittany. I'm glad you are good today. Glad you are having a good day. I'm good, Auntie. Happy Hump Day, Miss D. And blessings. Blessings to you too, my love. How are you? This damn device get on my nerve because it be so slow. Jesus Christ. Thanking God for another day. All right, hold on. I'm about to turn this device off because it's too slow right now. We're gonna do Nolan and I want y'all to hear what the judge had to say about Carmelo's case too. So, and y'all, I don't think the mother is gonna have an open funeral for the public. I doubt that. I can tell the way she talks. So, no. I'm well. I pray all is well with you. Yes, it is, baby. It is. It is. It is. Hey, Brittany. Can't complain. You got to work today, Brittany? All right, let me see what it do now. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna because she did say no media. So, she probably just don't want no cameras in there and everything all over social media and stuff like that. Which I mean, I don't blame because some people probably will do it, child. Some people probably will definitely do that. Put stuff all over social media, and she probably don't want that. So I don't blame her. Hey, Ray Ray. So let's get into this video. This is the judge that's talking about Carmelo. Oh, you off today? Okay, cool. Cool, 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 cool. And y'all, I do think it's going to be some arrests made with Nolan. I got a feeling it is. I got a feeling it's going to be some arrests made with Nolan. Hmm. I do believe that. I honestly do believe that there's going to be some arrests made. And that's why they're probably not talking because they're still doing their investigation. But we're going to talk about it after this video here to see what this judge said about Carmelo.
Ninth president of the National Bar Association from 2021 to 2022. And I'm currently living in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm running for Congress to serve Georgia's 13th congressional district. I come to you this morning with a heavy heart. I've been really disturbed since Carmelo Anthony was convicted of first-degree murder over in Collins County, Texas, and sentenced to 35 years for
Hey,
killing
Virgo.
Austin Metcalf. Now, while Austin Metcalf deserves to be alive, I do not believe that that Carmelo Anthony should have been convicted of first-degree murder. I do not believe that there was premeditation, and I believe that he had a self-defense claim that was not adequately explored by his defense team. And I do believe, at the most, that this should have been a manslaughter conviction, if anything, and definitely not a murder conviction, and
Facts.
definitely not first degree murder. by any stretch of the imagination. This man was assaulted by Austin Metcalf and defended himself. And he may have overreacted. He may have had sudden passion, but that is not murder. That would be more akin to manslaughter if the jury did not believe it was self-defense. Time and time again, if the roles were reversed, I do believe that a white young man that would have killed a black young man would have been acquitted, even with the self-defense claim, similar to what Carmelo Anthony made. And I've been very disturbed. I've been almost in a rage, but I'm trying to channel my rage and my anger and really look at the criminal justice system to see if race does in fact play a part in decisions that's made by judges and juries across America. I started practicing in 2002. So for nearly a quarter of a century, I've been a practicing attorney. And 20 of those years, I have been doing civil rights cases. And so I look back at some of the cases I've handled personally. Back in 2006, there was a young man who hired me by the name of James Marshall. He was accosted by a cop in Greenwood, Mississippi, a cop by the name of Casey Wiggins. Casey pulled a gun on this unarmed young black man at Greenwood High School, not once but twice. It was caught on video, and Mr. Marshall hired me to pursue a civil claim, and we were successful in that claim. What bothers me about that case is that Casey Wiggins, excuse me, never served time, was never arrested or convicted for anything. That was aggravated assault, if you ask me, and he got away with it. Never served time. He was allowed to resign from his position with the Greenwood Police Department on with his life after assaulting gun not once but twice on a black boy. You take it further, 10 years later in 2016, I represented Joshua Blunt. Joshua was a young man who was at work when he forgot to take his old child to her grandmother. He left the child in a hot car, and the car, in the car, unfortunately killed the
Oh,
child.
wow.
And you can see his reaction when he learned that the child was dead was caught on video, and he was hysterical. He had just simply forgotten and left his child in a hot car. And shortly after the child was found,
Hey, Miss
Joshua Blunt was
Green.
charged with second-degree murder. Mind you, 100 miles south of Grenada, Mississippi, where this happened, over in Mississippi, a white lady had done something similar, and she never indicted. But here you have Joshua Blunt, a black young man who did something similar, who was charged with murder, and then indicted for manslaughter. He's facing a murder charge and up to 20 years in prison. So we took the nail him out of prison. We did keep him out of prison. He didn't have the time in prison for this unfortunate event. He did plead to couple of manslaughter and had to. So while the hot car and that 2-year-old died, she never was
Wow,
indicted
this
or
is
had to serve time
crazy.
on her record. My client ultimately has a felony on record. Not in Oxford, Mississippi, a young black woman was a white cop by the name of Matthew Kinney. Matthew Kinney it to capital murder. He is serving a life in prison. And so this is a white cop that pled to capital murder for killing a black woman he was having an affair with. He's doing life in prison. But is that good enough? Had the roles been reversed, and this had been a black cop that killed a white woman he was having an affair with, and he had the audacity to plead to capital murder, would he have been given the death penalty? Time and time again, it seems that when a white official does something to a black person, they either get a slap on the wrist or they get a lesser sentence than what would have been given had the roles been reversed. Then you take it further to DeMonterio Gibson. DeMonterio Gibson, you may recall, was the FedEx driver I represented, and he was attacked and assaulted by Gregory and Brandon Case while he attempted to deliver a package in Brookhaven. He
Oh my God, you can't be serious.
and the judge dismissed the charges against those two white men for what they did to black men. Never stand a crime. Stereo Gibson should have gotten off scot free. So tell me what went on there. Had the verse
It's something definitely
and
going on in
two
Mississippi.
black men shot at a white FedEx driver, almost killing them. Uh, those two black
Right,
men would be
Brittany?
in prison now, I do believe, instead of sitting home scot free. I also had the pleasure of representing Stephen Harris. Stephen Harris is a young black man in Mississippi who spent nearly 12 years behind bars without trial. I mean, he was never tried for any offense, but yet he spent 12 years behind bars without the benefit of a trial. We sued civilly and got him a judgment against the responsible. But you tell me, has a white man in Mississippi ever sat behind bars nearly 12 years or any amount of time without the benefit of a trial? A clear constitutional violation, but yet Mississippi got away with this for nearly 12 years, definitely over a decade. And we had to hold that county responsible. And Stephen Harris is now free. But had I not come in, he may still be behind bars without the benefit of a trial. And that's something that happened in the 21st century. It's unbelievable, it's unthinkable, but yes, it's true. And then we go over
Ma'am,
to Tupelo,
12
Mississippi. I
years.
believe around 2015, 2016, another unarmed black man was killed by a white cop by the name of Tyler Cook. Tyler Cook was never convicted of anything. He claims that he was justified in shooting Antoine Shumford because Antoine Shumford punched him after coming from under a house where a dog attacked him. A police dog attacked Antoine Shumford, and I guess Tyler says that the punch caused him to fear for his life, and he was justified in shooting Antoine dead. So Antoine had no weapon, but Tyler Cook walked scot free based on him allegedly fearing for his life. Um, Carmelo Anthony may have feared for his life when he stabbed someone, but he did not get the same benefit of the doubt. So you tell me, does race play a part in the criminal justice system? Over in Tennessee and Memphis, you had Darius Stewart, a young black man who was unarmed, who was attacked by a young white cop named Connor Schilling. The prosecutor in that case, she recommended that Connor Schilling be indicted for voluntary manslaughter. Yet the jury did not do what the prosecutor recommended. There was no indictment, and Connor Schilling still walks the streets free after killing unarmed Darius Stewart after a routine traffic stop in Memphis. So these cases, they stick with me. They have stayed with me over the years, and I've been troubled at the pattern that I see. Once I took the bench, I became known as a judge that gave second chances, and I was in jurisdictions that were majority black. And so, although my second chances benefited individuals of all races that came before me, they really benefited black people, and some people could not stand the fact that I gave second chances to African Americans. And so, when we reach positions of power and we are doing right across the board, sometimes we as the people with the power become targets by the state. And so um, I'm living in Atlanta now, and I voluntarily chose to come to Atlanta in 2023. But Mississippi attacked me and banned me for life. After I had already resigned from being a judge, they banned me from life for being a judge there in Mississippi simply because I spoke out against the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict and asked did race have a part in that decision. And I also went on the Kelly Clarkson show and talked about my Second Chances program at the invitation of Kelly. And some people had something negative to say about that. And so I am happy living here in Atlanta, Georgia. I decided to raise my son here in Atlanta. I'm speaking to you from Atlanta, Georgia now. But Mississippi has a sordid history when it comes to race relations. I did the best that I could to change things in that state. I fought on behalf of the least of those during the course of my career, my legal career. I'm now practicing in Tennessee, and we are still fighting a good fight. I live in Atlanta and have lived here since 2023, and we are still on the battlefield. We would not allow our voice to be silenced. Instead of seeking another judicial position, I've decided to run for Congress. I believe that this District 13 deserves a strong, proven, tenacious fighter as its next representative. And so I'm asking people to get behind me. I will never stop fighting for the people. Come hell or high water, I'm going to fight on behalf of the least of these because I recognize a problem. I have the evidence, I have the facts that support that there is racism in our criminal justice system that needs to be rooted out. It needs to be exposed, and I am intent on exposing it. So I am Judge Carlos Moore. I earned that title, and I continue to use it because I served for 6.5 years on the bench, and I am ready to go to Congress to fight on behalf of the people of District 13. So I am channeling my rage. I am intent on fighting this fight. They say when things get hard, you can either fight or flee. I have decided not to flee. I'm going to continue to fight, and I ask you to support me on this fight. You can find me at my website, carlosmoreforga.com. Please donate towards the cause of my campaign. We are intent on winning this July the 28th special election and going to Washington, D.C. To shake things up. You have never seen someone like me go to D.C., but what you see is what you get.
Brittany,
I am unbought and unbossed, and I will call a spade any time of the day and twice on Sunday. Again, I'm Judge Carlos Moore. I'm also a practicing attorney now that I've retired from the bench, and we are out here running for Congress. Thanks for your support. Stay strong and keep the faith.
You can tell Mississippi has a lot going on, y'all. You can tell that. This coming from a judge, experienced judge, okay? That is a lot going on there in Mississippi. A lot. That's crazy. I don't think I would want to ever live there. Okay. Hold on, guys. Let me get to this. And then I'm going to do the one from this morning, too. Wow. Nah, I couldn't live in Mississippi with all that going on. I don't like all that. I would feel like I'm in danger every single day. I would never feel comfortable, you know? I just would not feel comfortable. Not me. All right, this is an update from... Let's listen to this. Hold on.
Yeah.
And then we go.
A trip to an island. I imagine everybody's got phones.
Hold on, y'all. Okay.
Tragic death of 18-year-old Southwest Mississippi Community College football player Nolan Wells, a graduate of Ocean Springs High, disappeared while boating with friends on Horn Island. It's right off the coast of Mississippi. This was during the July 4th weekend. And by the way, this is an island where there's limited access. You got to have a boat. It's a wilderness area. There's no commercial development. And that says something. That says something about the investigation and what might have happened here. But we know the tragedy of this case. We know that Nolan's body was found that Monday on the island, washed ashore. His family is demanding transparency. They are demanding a full investigation into what happened. They have retained civil rights attorney Ben Crump. They have ordered an independent investigation and an independent autopsy. In fact, Ben Crump told ABC News Live last week that Nolan's body would be flown to Washington, D.C. for an independent autopsy. And by the way, this follows Jackson County Coroner Bruce Lynn Jr.'s announcement that an autopsy is being conducted by the state ME office, but the results are pending because of toxicology test findings that could take several weeks.
Hey, sis,
but authorities
what's going on, my love?
that
Hey,
this was an
beautiful.
accident, that this was a case of drowning, that there are no...
And y'all, I could be wrong, y'all, and y'all know y'all always hear me say this, but I do believe from that press conference today, I'm going to play it as soon as I finish, right? I believe it's going to be some charges made, and this is why they probably been low key, not saying anything. Now, do I agree with them not, telling the mother too much? I disagree with that, right? But maybe they didn't have a lot at the time to tell her. But it seems to me by that press conference, somebody is going to jail. I don't know if it's 1, 2, 3, but somebody is going to jail. Now, y'all can tell me what y'all think.
Signs of foul play at this point, even though they're continuing the investigation. But there are questions. For instance, according to CNN, Nolan didn't return to the dock with his friends that day, and his family didn't understand why he would separate from them, that he was supposed to take a different boat back, but didn't. Nolan apparently didn't have a cell phone with him. There were reports of an alleged altercation that day. According to the sheriff, one of Nolan's friends contacted the Coast Guard on the night of July 4th at around 11 p.m. Nolan's mom called the sheriff's office midday leading into July 5th. The family has concerns about why Nolan just stayed without friends. His mother saying to GMA, that we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would. His father saying, we always told him if you go with a group, you stay with the group. In fact, Sheriff John Ledbetter previously indicated that Nolan may have stayed on the island rather than heading back to the mainland. But even Nolan's friend, Javon Williams, told CNN, quote, I've never known Nolan to stay back while his friends leave. He's always been a guy where if he rode with you, he's going to come back with you. That's always how he's been every single time. There's also this. Nolan's mother told GMA that they tracked Nolan's phone using the Life 360 app, and they found out that his phone was with his friends, and she claims that it's possible some of the texts and messages were deleted. So a lot is going on, and as this is going on, we have new developments. There is some back and forth we need to talk about.
A trip to an island, I imagine everybody's got phones, everybody's recording and uploading things to social media. And even if Mr. Wells's social media account was apparently quiet during at least some of this time, some of that interaction has got to have been captured by other people. That's just sort of how young people socialize. Everything gets put online.
You've seen the back and forth also with the phone, right? Like, how could he not have his phone? Why would he leave his phone back behind? But you heard Shepard and Shepard's uncle basically say it's not uncommon for people on a boat to leave their phone behind. What do you make of that?
That makes sense. I mean, you're right. Normally, young people have their phones with them and on all the time, but I think getting in water would be an exception. You're not going to get in the water with your phone in your pocket. So the idea that he would leave it behind with somebody or on a boat if he's going to be getting wet makes a lot of sense.
Now, I have to tell you, people are looking at this and saying there are strange aspects to it. I mean, even his family says he knows better than just to stay behind, right? Not go back with his friends. His family has said he didn't have his phone. Perhaps messages were deleted. What are potential red flags you see in this? Does it strike you as unusual that the family would want outside counsel to take a look at this, to investigate? Are there aspects to it where you say, you know what, this might not be so straightforward? And I know you're not part of the investigation, but based on the reporting so far, what kind of questions would you have? What's giving you hesitation or reservation, if anything?
Well, the fact that he was separated from his phone for a period of time is concerning. Again, it's not necessarily evidence that anything nefarious happened, but it's a legitimate question. Why was he not with his phone? Why was he not posting things on social media? Why are these conflicting statements about how he intended to get off the island and with whom? Those are all legitimate questions. I think it's also fair to say that a lot of people don't trust the police. And I think for a lot of people of color, and particularly people in the South, that's not an unreasonable concern. Historically, my profession, my former profession, has not always behaved in a way that's worthy of the trust of everybody in the communities that we're supposed to serve and protect. So the idea that the parents would be suspicious, would be concerned that the local authorities might not do a great job, I think that's fair. And again, I'm not casting any aspersions on the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. I'm just saying that's a legitimate human impulse. And again, for anybody that's lost a loved one, you want answers. And anything other than absolute clarity delivered quickly just feels wrong.
According to USA Today, just to expand upon this, and Crump said that the family is conducting its own investigation because of, quote, distrust of the Mississippi law enforcement officials. Crump said the young woman says that he went and got back on the boat with the boys say no. He said he was going to stay with her. That's a conflict. So you're getting the sense of why they're conducting their own independent investigation, their own independent autopsy. How does that affect the official investigation? How does a parallel private independent investigation conducted by the family through an attorney with an independent autopsy, how does that affect the official investigation?
Well, that's an excellent question, and it really depends on the integrity and the quality of persons involved in the independent investigation. I mean, Benjamin Crump is a very eminent and well-known civil rights lawyer. I imagine that he and the family have retained people of the highest caliber to conduct the second autopsy and any additional investigation. So hopefully it will be something that brings out the best in both aspects of the investigation and goes a step further in uncovering the truth. It's not unusual to have more than one autopsy in a case, and it's not unusual for medical professionals to disagree, any more than it'd be unusual for scientists or other eminent professionals to disagree about how to interpret facts in a case.
Crump said that the family is going to be hiring these experts to determine whether anything had actually been deleted from Nolan's phone. Questioned why, again, he would remain on the island without it. What kind of experts are those? What is that information? I mean, I imagine law enforcement's looking at that as well. Although, as we reported, at least at the time of this broadcast, it doesn't appear that Crump has turned over the phone to law enforcement. If that's true, I find that interesting, right? And I also curious about how you actually do an analysis of the phone.
So there are experts and there are programs that are designed to extract data from cell phones. There's a couple of programs that are used to recover data, including data that people think is deleted. So there's a lot that you can get from a cell phone. Some of it is dependent upon the phone itself, how data is stored, the choices you make, for example, with an application like Snapchat, whether things are retained or deleted. But there are people who do nothing but cell phone forensics and forensic examination of electronic devices, and they're very good at it, and they're very good at recovering things that people think that they got rid of. In addition to whatever's on the device itself, there may be additional information on the servers of social media companies and providers of telecommunication services. So there's a lot of information to be gleaned there. Both from Mr. Wells's phone and from the devices of other people that were there on the island at the time.
Now, I mentioned the family's arranging for this forensic pathologist in Washington, D.C. to conduct the second private independent forensic autopsy. Crump had added, if he's drowning, nobody sees him drown, nobody offers assistance, nobody tries to help. I thought that was an interesting comment too, right? I mean, that's a point. That's a good point to make. How does he just drown and no one sees him?
Mr. Crump is asking very legitimate questions about apparent discrepancies between the different accounts, about why Mr. Wells was separated from his phone. And this question of drowning is interesting, especially because Mr. Wells, was apparently a very strong swimmer. But drowning doesn't always look like this desperate thrashing around that we might be used to from the media. Drowning is often silent. It doesn't necessarily look like somebody's in distress. And even a very strong swimmer can be overcome by currents and by things in the water that might impair their ability to swim.
One of the things that Crump also mentioned was when Nolan's body was found, right? According to the New York Post, Crump said his body should have been there on July 5th. Why would it not appear until July 6th? If he stayed back on the island, there were boats there. There were people. It's just not adding up. What do you think?
Again, Mr. Crump is raising legitimate questions, but for every one of these questions, there are both sort of innocent and more nefarious answers. If somebody drowns, it's not uncommon for their body to remain out at sea or in a body of water for days or even longer before it's discovered, depending on currents and where the drowning happens.
The sheriff had asked for, and is still asking for, the public's help, right? Asking specifically for original, unedited photos and videos that were taken on the northwest tip of Horn Island on July 4th, 2026, particularly those depicting alleged altercations or containing images of or believed to include Nolan Wells. That's actually a quote. Original media often contains critical details that may be essential to the ongoing investigation. And look, the sheriff has encouraged anybody, even if you think it's small, even if you think it's insignificant, turn it over because you may not know the value of it. So again, why do you think the sheriff wants this? What are they going to do with this information? How do they analyze it? How do they process it? How does it fit into the overall investigation?
Well, it's a very legitimate ask by the sheriff's office, and it's going to probably take them a while to go through all the potential sources of electronic evidence in this case. I would expect that there were many people present on this island besides Nolan Wells and his friends who might have captured some part of some interaction. And if they're going to be parsing through, a day's worth of film from multiple people, and probably in many cases having to slow things down, enhance things to try to figure out what they're really looking at, that's something. Something that's going to take a while, but it's an absolutely essential source of. information in this case.
Matt, what are you going to be looking out for next? In other words, when do you think we're going to be getting information? When do you think we'll get some update, either from law enforcement? I also wonder if it's difficult to predict when we get some more information from this independent investigation from Ben Crump. I mean, I imagine if they get the independent autopsy results, would they share that immediately? What should we be looking out for next?
Well, I would expect that the forensic examination of phones and other electronic media is likely to take weeks, could even take months, depending on the amount of data involved, and it also has to do with the amount of personnel that are available to review all that data. That could be in itself very time-consuming. The autopsy itself, at least the preliminary autopsy, both the official one and the private one commissioned by the family, should be complete or close to complete now or very soon. But there's additional steps like looking at toxicology, for example, that may take, again, additional weeks. So that's going to take a while. I think that probably additional potential witnesses may be identified besides the group of friends that went to the island with Mr. Wells. Those interviews may take additional days and weeks. They're probably going to be re-interviews as they gain information from one person that requires them to go back and clarify or confirm information with somebody they've already talked to. So I think we're probably talking about a matter of weeks, both for the Jackson County Sheriff's investigation and hopefully for the independent investigation sought by the family and by Mr. Crump. So I'm hoping it's not going to be too much longer than that. The tough thing about a case like this is sometimes even after all the information is in, you don't have a clear answer. I mean, for example, if the determination is that he drowned, well, that's a cause of death. It's not a manner of death, right? You could drown accidentally, you could drown by suicide, you could drown by homicide. So we might, at the end of the day, have all the facts. In and still not have an answer that satisfies the grieving family or other people that are concerned about what happened.
Because the forensic evidence wouldn't be so clear to suggest how someone drowned, right? I mean, how could you show, unless there was some sort of blunt force trauma or some sort of evidence of, he was held down or pushed in the water or something like that? It'd be really hard to know.
Exactly. And even if there are some injuries to his body, depending on the injuries, they could be something caused by another person or caused by a body being in a rough currents.
Matt Irvine, thanks for coming on. As always, thank you for giving us things to be thinking about as we cover this and continue to wait for answers. And we're just hoping the family gets
things like that. Wait, oh my God. Hold on, y'all. Let me redo it. I ain't even know my thing was on mute. Why y'all ain't tell me I was on mute?
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about Nola Wells today. So today, we actually know someone that works transporting bodies, human remains, and things like that. So today, I got a call from that person, and they were just talking about the body that they came across. This was Nola Wells. So before knowing all that, he said that
no, you wasn't tripping, Brittany.
The body was mistreated. Yeah, it looked abused. It looked like he was tortured. Looked as if he was burnt, maybe. Where? Face, body, said he was burnt.
Did y'all hear that?
Not only that, his body was mistreated and when they transported him. So as they were transporting him, he was actually face down. So everyone knows when you're transporting the body, when only a couple of people work that job, they all know you don't transport the body face down. It's kind of very disrespectful. So you always have to face up. Well, specifically his body whatever reason, was face down. And me personally, I took that as disrespect. Yeah. Heart goes out to the family. Yes, definitely. Because all we know is what they put out on the internet. But today, we actually found out a lot about his autopsy without even reading the autopsy. Yeah. It's heartbreaking. I'm so sorry that family had to go through this. Really, just want to give our condolences to the family. As a mom, or moms, grandmothers, dads. Family, period. Just we give the most prayers to you, and we stand behind you because we know right what really happened, right. So, and I definitely got.
Did y'all hear that?
During the pandemic.
Did y'all hear that? That's why I say you got to be careful because you don't know who know who. Hold on, let me turn this down. Oh, wait, I got something else I want y'all to hear. Also, too. Hold on. Let's listen at this if you didn't hear this one. Hold on.
Secret Service Sam here with a Nola Xavier Wells update. This is something a little bit shocking. Somebody just reached out to me on Facebook. He's verified that he has been talking with the investigators, as you can see in this screenshot, and I'll just read you our conversation. I was on Horn Island on the 4th. I have information I will share with you, but for obvious reasons would like to keep certain parts a secret as they would absolutely damage the investigation. Let me know if you want. I've had several conversations with investigators. I can be seen in the video in question regarding an altercation. I said, oh, sure. Were you really there? I was there during the video in question. I can be seen on the far right walking away. Okay, great. What would you like to say? I will not use your name or anything. Then he sent me these screenshots of the phone calls. I said, I believe you. What would you like to share with me? Thanks. I've been working with investigators. I walked through right after a real fight broke out. I didn't see Nolan or the friends he rode there with around, but I have reason to believe Nolan was part of that fight. What do you think happened to Nolan? Why do you think he was part of the fight? Doesn't matter what I think, only the evidence and where it might lead. I didn't see Nolan's friends he rode with, but the friends who he was supposed to be catching a ride home with appear to be lying based on what I saw and what they're saying. The investigators had been following up with me for new details as new evidence emerges. Between you and me, they believe to have identified the suspect if what I witnessed was connected. So I know they're working hard to get to the bottom of it. Wow, can you say what you witnessed? I can't. They would use it to build their story and taint the investigation. And I told him I really appreciate you sharing this information with me. And he said, I wouldn't have told you if I didn't feel like your heart was in the right place. Then he says, you're welcome. Yes, I'm trying to get transcripts of Javon and Trayston's interviews to show you contradictions and errors. Will follow up. Yes, don't go so far into detail, but let people know that they're working on it, that if the information got out, it would taint the investigation, and start focusing your investigation towards his ride home, since at least one of his friends admitted he stayed behind and was now with his other friends, Javon and Trayston. It only makes sense to follow an alternative investigatory route, which assumes his ride to Horn is telling the truth. He also made sure to let me know that the investigators are handling this like pros, and that is very reassuring. What do you guys think about this? This potentially is a huge break in this case, and it's good to hear that the investigators are doing their job, and it seems like they might have an idea of a suspect. Secret Service Sam out. Samson.
Now, what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about the guy that inboxed him? What do y'all think? Now, I do believe it's going to be an investigation. I mean, it is. And I don't know about that news. I mean, y'all, we got to take everything into consideration, whether we think it's fake, false. Let's try to just take everything in consideration right now, because we don't know which way to go with this. But they did say in the press conference that a lot of people has been calling, and they are getting 2 leads. They're not playing. I do believe somebody's going to be arrested. I'm not laughing at that, y'all, so don't think I'm laughing at that. I'm laughing at y'all comments. I love y'all because y'all funny. And I accept all y'all comments. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. I'm just, because it's so many stories, y'all. I don't know. He's trying to rule those kids out. So wait a minute, y'all. Let me go to my other device. Hold on, sis. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Let me go to my other device so I can read from that one. Hold on. Let me go to. Trying to rule the other kids out. So who did the ride? Who did he ride with? I can agree with that. Yes. Yeah. Now, what did y'all? Okay, let's go back to the lady, to the lady I just played. Right? Did y'all hear? She said that when Nolan's body was transferred, his face was flat down, which we know a deceased person. That is so disrespectful to a deceased person and the family. Like, come on. We know when you're deceased, you're on your back. Okay? Not your stomach. That's number 1. Okay? Now, whoever did that, they need to be held accountable for that. Right? Because they know they did wrong. Okay? Now, the 2 ladies that spoke out, and when y'all heard her say that she was told that he had bruises, I'll play it again if you want to hear it. Very disrespectful. Yes, very disrespectful. Y'all, it's funny. Y'all funny. So the body was face down. The lady said he had bruises and it looked like he was burnt. Replay it again. Okay, I'll do it. Hey, Open Book, what's going on, love? Hey, Scorpio. Okay, give me 1 minute. Y'all, this weekend, I'm going to work on trying to bring up Facebook on my laptop because I'm not good with, I have it downloaded, but I don't know how to bring it up. I'm going to try to work on it. I did reach out to one of my supporters today to try to help me. She said she's trying to figure out the same thing. So I'm going to try to work on it myself and see how to bring up Facebook. But hold on, I'm going to go back to it and let you hear it again. I would definitely do it for you guys. I would definitely do it for you guys.
Yeah. All right. So we want to talk about Nolan Wells today. So today, we actually know someone that works transporting bodies, remains, and things like that. So today I got a call from that person, and they were just talking about the body that they came across. So was Nolan Wells. So before knowing all that, he said that the body was mistreated. Yeah. It looked abused. It looked like he was tortured. Looked as if he was burnt, maybe.
You heard him?
Where? Face, body. He was burnt. And not only that, his body was mistreated when they transported him. So as they were transporting him, he was actually face down. So everyone knows when you're transporting the body.
Right, sis, they should be held accountable. Absolutely.
Job, they all know you don't transport the body face down. It's kind of very disrespectful. So you always have them face up. Well, specifically, his body whatever reason, was face down. And me personally, I took that as disrespect. Yeah. Heart goes out to the family. Yes, definitely. Because all we know is what they put out on the internet. But today, we actually found out a lot about his autopsy without even reading the autopsy. Yeah. It's hard. I'm so sorry that family have to go through this. Really, just give our condolences to the family.
I'm telling you, y'all, I believe they beat that boy and threw that boy in the water. And I could be wrong. And if I am, I will ask God to forgive me. But I'm just saying how I feel about it. I believe he was beaten. I believe he was threw in that water. They know exactly what they did to him. And they will pay for it. And I do believe, how did they see that? No, they didn't see that. I was just going to explain what happened with that. And I went into something else. I was talking to somebody through an inbox. My mind went crazy just that fast. Okay. This lady that's talking, y'all, she knows somebody that works with transporting bodies. And they reached out to her. And this is why I said you got to be careful when you do shit to people, because you don't know what people know, people who work in certain places. Okay? You don't know that. People don't come out here and say, oh yeah, I know somebody that work in the justice system, or I know somebody that work in the police department. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, y'all. Let me just bring this up so I can see y'all comments. So this is how she found out. She know a person that works there, and they got in contact with her and told her what they saw. Okay? Yes, and I think she could have contact the mom. The mom probably know about it, but a lot of things the mom probably is not speaking on, you know what I'm saying? But I'm quite sure maybe Ben Crump know about it. I don't know. But the lady, hey sis, the lady said that she knows someone that worked in that department, and they immediately contact her and told her what the body looked like and how they had him face down. Instead of, we know deceased people be on their back, right? Why would you have a deceased person face down? That is so disrespectful and nasty to the family. And she said that his face had some burnt marks on it. Now, I let y'all hear it. It ain't nothing I'm making up now, because y'all hearing it from her. She said it. This is what she said the people told her. That's what she said. So what do y'all think about it? Tell me what y'all think about it. About this person that reached out to the Sam guy. I think he does a wonderful job. Shout out to him, because he does a wonderful, wonderful job. He really do. And I want to say shout out to him. So I don't know, y'all. I just let y'all hear it so y'all won't think I'm lying, because I told y'all I don't put out fake stuff. I let y'all hear it from another person's mouth. That's it. I don't know about that. I will wait on the autopsy. I mean, yeah, but I just wanted them to hear it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do got to wait on that. But I just wanted them to hear what the lady said and not coming from my mouth. I wanted to play it because it was coming from her mouth. That's what I wanted to do. Hey, Roy D, just one thing that confirmed me. If the woman is telling the truth about the body, why wouldn't the sheriff say where it was no foul play? I don't know. Maybe y'all gotta remember sometimes, y'all, when they consider stuff as a homicide, we're not gonna hear what they want. What we're not gonna hear and expect everything we want to hear and expect. I mean, that's in every state. I know what happens here. We may want answers fast. We may want them to say what we want them to say. But when it comes to a homicide, y'all, they ain't gonna do that. They're not gonna come out here and give up what they got fast like that. They may come out here and do a little press conference. You know what I mean? Like the day when they did that press conference, they didn't say actually what was talked about in that press conference. They just spoke on grand jury, right? So we all smart. We know what grand jury means. We know somebody is going to get arrested. Not from you. I was referring to them. Oh yeah, I know you was. Yeah, I know you was, sis. The family was not. The family has not seen the body. We know that. We never said the family seen the body. The family have not seen the body. I'm just playing, y'all, what the lady said in the video, y'all. That's all I am doing. That is it. That's why I asked y'all, what do y'all think about it? Because I don't know if it's true or not. And I didn't want to say it. That's why I said, y'all, let y'all hear something. Because I wanted to come from the lady mouth that was telling it. That's why I did that. Hey, Miss D, how you doing? I'm doing good. Hey, OG. So yeah, that's why I did that, because I didn't, So I don't know. I don't know. Now, what I will say, whoever told her that, I hope now that they not lying, because that would be a disrespect to the family to come out here and put out information like that. And then on top of it, maybe she shouldn't even say anything about it until she knew if it was factual. Please don't attack me. I'm only giving what I think. I don't know who attacked you, baby. I ain't attack you. If somebody attacked you, I'm sorry. Ben Crump has told the family to be prepared to see the body. That speaks volumes. Okay, okay. Scorpio, thank you for that, baby. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right, Scorpio. And hey, wow. Wow. Damn, I'm like you, Scorpio. That do speak a lot of volumes. It really does. Because there is no way we're getting away with no foul play if his body was left the way the lady says it was. Oh yeah, I understood your comment. But ooh Lord. Wow. That's crazy. Listen, y'all. Like I said, I don't know if the lady lying or not. I hope she's not, because that's something to come on the platform and talk about. And if it's not true, and I hope the person that did reach out to her and tell her about it, I hope they're not lying, because that's not just good to put out information like that on someone deceased loved one if that's not factual, you know. But we don't know. We don't know, y'all. Yeah, I know. I heard the press conference. I was watching it. It's not going to be for the public though. You know, they don't want no media or anything in there like that. And I had that feeling. I had that feeling they was going to do it like that. You know, hey, you got to respect the family. The chef had no business. The sheriff had no business saying anything until the autopsy was done. All but they said they had a lot of leads. Y'all, do y'all feel somebody gonna be arrested? I do, y'all. I'm just being honest. I really do. I really do. I really feel like someone. I don't know how many people, but I feel like it's gonna be some arrest made, and they need to put that damn judge in jail. She need to be the first one for letting that boat at her goddamn house. Uh-huh. Yeah. She need to be the first one. Yeah. Trying to cover shit up. She ain't had no business letting that boat at her damn house. Let them take it to their damn house. Where the hell they live at? Yeah. That's just how I feel, y'all. The boat should never been at her house. Because I feel when that boat got there, she done started covering up shit already. Yes, because I'm sure it is easy to figure out who.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hot Topics, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I have been in traffic this morning, so pardon me coming to you a little bit late this morning.
Hold on, y'all. We're going to skip through this. I don't
Hi,
feel
everyone.
like that
How
long
are
live
you? Good
stuff.
to see you.
Hold on, let me see.
We used to say information moves with the speed of sound. You remember the telephone game, right? And so information now moves with a telephone, but a telephone is not just a call machine anymore. It's a photograph.
I just want to move through some of it.
The Black community a Black family with a Black civil rights attorney, no Black media. Come on, bro. And I got to be specific about what transparency actually means, because I don't think it means what some people in law enforcement seems to think it means. I think they get it confused, or they say, as I say, don't get it twisted. I think that law enforcement and the legal people, I think they've gotten it twisted. Transparency does not mean announcing conclusions early. That's not what anybody's talking about. Transparency does not mean blowing up somebody's investigation. That is not what people are talking about. I don't know how people get that in their heads at this.
Hold on.
Is you're going to
skip it, but
possibly
okay. Let's see.
And I got to be specific about what transparency actually means. Update the public every single day, even if the update is nothing new to report. We're working on the investigation. Please be patient, but we know it's important to the family, and not only to the family, but to the American people. They have a right to know. We're public servants.
Yeah.
Because that single sentence that says, hey, nothing new to report, it's said out loud. If you say it out loud on a schedule, it does more to prevent rumor than a month of silence ever will. Because here's the thing about silence, as I said about yesterday. I said it yesterday. It doesn't, people don't read silence as caution to the public. That's not how it reads. It reads as if you're trying to conceal something, or that something is not fair, whether or not that is true. That's how it reads. And in a case like this, a young man dead, a family in agony, a community that has every reason, given history, to wonder whether the full truth is going to be, if they're going to pursue the full truth with the same urgency that would be pursued if the roles were reversed. Silence is the single most expensive thing a sheriff's department can spend time right now. Time on right now. That's the most important thing, because you know what it costs? Truth. And look, and once that trust or confidence is broken, I mean, once it is spent, no amount of "we won't be rushed" gets it back. So today, as we have up there, we should put up that there's a press conference coming up. So today, finally, there's some movement. Something is going to move. Nolan's parents and his attorney, they're going to sit down and meet with the Jackson County DA this afternoon. The first real conversation since their son's body was found 11 days ago. We're told that there's going to be a press conference that follows, and we will be there. It should be in a few minutes if they're on time at 11 o'clock. But these things, it's not like clockwork, right? We're going to be there, and we're going to bring you exactly what is said. And just as importantly, exactly what isn't said. So to Christine and Elmore Wansley, you should not have had to correct strangers on the internet about your own son's last hours. That should never have been your job. I'm sorry it was. And to Sheriff Ledbetter, the phone number goes back up right now. We can put it up as we wait on this, because we do want those tips. 228-769-3063. But asking this community for help and giving them silence in return isn't a strategy. It's not recognizing what year it is. A word from our sponsors. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they start a business is thinking that they have to be good at everything. Trust me, I've learned that that's impossible. I don't need to be the best graphic designer, web developer, editor, accountant, or marketing expert. I need to know where to find people who are, and that's why I like Upwork. Whether you need help for one afternoon or a long-term project, Upwork connects you with freelancers across more than 125 categories. You can review their work, you can compare experience, you can hire quickly, and even let AI help match you with the...
And then somebody was saying too, well, somebody at the press conference asked about that goddamn picture, y'all. And they was like, because, you know, he shared it. Ben Crump shared it. And he was saying he's sharing everything. He's not leaving nothing unturned. He's sharing everything. Not saying because he was trying to say, I'm not sharing everything because I believe everything, but they want everything out. They want everything out to see what is what. So I understood what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? But again, I don't believe it was no party the day of. I'm going to stand on that. I don't believe that. Whoever believed that, that's up to you. You know, I can't change your mind, but I do not believe it was a pool party that night. I believe that pool party was just like I said it was, and just like this guy said it was yesterday too, on the 27th, days before. Okay? That's what I believe. I do not believe it was the pool party that day. There's no way it could have been a pool party at 1 o'clock and Nolan was there, and they called in for Nolan went missing at 11 p.m. Well, if Nolan went missing at 11 p.m., how the hell he get to a pool party? I never believed that anyway.
The right person. The smartest business owners don't try to do everything. They spend their time doing what they can do.
It's not like they sat down and talked to law enforcement. It's not even like law enforcement decided that they wanted to sit down and talk to them. They decided, oh, the little black boy ended up dead without his cell phone, without his friends, going and telling his parents, oh yeah, we got the cell phone. They got to go and track down the phone and find the phone. It looks like a racial thing to me, but hey, maybe we'll find out that it wasn't.
Well, what's interesting is we had his football coach on our TV show today, and he said that there was never any racial tension between any of the students or anything like that. So that kind of points that maybe this wasn't racially motivated.
I mean, I can't say what even the cause of death really is. We know that there's an independent autopsy that's going on, but I can tell you that race is absolutely playing a role. What role? Whether it had to do with his death, whether it had to do with the fact that maybe your friends left you to die, or your friends didn't care that maybe you did die. I do believe that there's a racial component, or if it's just in law enforcement, not feeling as if Nolan Wells was worthy of an actual investigation, but instead decided that there was no foul play, seemingly with no evidence, without talking to any witnesses. That to me is where there are racial components to this for sure. But I will not say that I know for sure that race played a role in his death.
Are you in the camp of if Nolan was white and his friends were...
Yeah.
Okay.
The friends, listen, they would have absolutely been under the jail with no questions asked first.
Really?
But for sure.
She said for sure.
What do y'all think? He mentioned the football coach. So since he invoked the football coach, I think we should just play it and see what he says.
So Tracy, my understanding is you were close to the family, and you actually, helped in the search for Nolan before his body was found. Can you give us a sense of what his parents think happened here? Do they believe this was just an unfortunate accident, tragedy, or that it's something more sinister?
Well, just to correct you a little bit, I didn't actually help for the search, but I was in Ocean Springs when it happened, and I was still in disbelief when I got the news that Nola was missing. So when I got all the details surrounding the case, that they told me he was out at Horn Island, and he came up missing or whatnot. I talked with his dad, and we just had conversation. That was kind of after the fact when they had found his body, because I was just giving the family their respect that they deserve, and when everything first took place. But I was sharing all the detail that the family was sharing, just putting the word out there, and just so everybody could be on notice and everybody be paying attention to what the parents was asking of the community. But I gave the family their space. But then when they found their body, I pulled up to the house and just paid my respect. And me and the dad had conversations, and we talked, and man, it's just devastating.
When you say you talked to the dad, did he kind of accept this as an accident and a tragedy, or was he more suspicious?
Well, no, he was more so just searching for answers right now, because it had just happened, and there was a lot of questions still unanswered. You know what I mean? And like the family just want to know what happened and what was going on, because the questions that they've been asking have not, truly been answered. And so we all now just sitting back and waiting on the autopsy to come back, and waiting on the family to give more details about, what they have received moving forward.
Tracy, can you tell us, just talk to us about Nolan? Obviously, he's a high school football star, and usually.
Oh yeah, open book. I did hear somebody say that, and yes, that's very strange. Absolutely, sis, that's very strange. Wonder why? Because they know some arrest is going to be made. I definitely believe that some arrest is going to be made. It is some lies somewhere. It's just that we can't really. I mean, we can see the lies. I'm not saying that we can't. We can see some things that's not adding up here. It is some lies that being told somewhere, but we don't know, because we don't know what the authorities know. That's what I'm saying. We don't know what they know, because they're not going to come out here and tell us what they know right now. But I do believe if they had a press conference and the grand jury was brought up, somebody going to jail. Somebody is definitely going to jail. But what I need them to do is arrest them first. Because don't come with no goddamn grand jury shit first. No, they need to be arrested first. They need their pictures taken, because we need to see their pictures. Okay? And then they need a bail set for their arrest if they get a bail. We need all of that, because that's the procedures before they take it into grand jury. That's what we need to see. Yeah.
Usually high school football stars have a pretty close relationship with their coaches. What can you tell us about just Nolan as a human being, and what you saw from him and how he interacted with other people in school with his friends.
Yes, Nolan was a
Open book, is you still in the chat? Let me ask you a question if you still here, because I don't know, like, was it deleted from Facebook, Instagram? I don't know. I just heard somebody talk about it today on Instagram. I seen somebody say something about it today on Instagram. Did she have an Instagram or a Facebook or a Snapchat or something like that?
Nolan was a great young man, you know, with a big personality.
Oh, okay, sis.
Everybody gravitated to Nolan because of his smile. He just wanted everybody to be
Yes,
happy.
want
And
me to be
he was a
served.
joy to coach, a
ASAP,
joy to be
facts.
around. To sum Nolan up, you know, long story short, Nolan is a guy that I would let date my daughter. You know, that's the kind of character he had, and that's the kind of person that his family raised.
So, you know, getting to the, you know, the last time he was.
And I'm tired of hearing people say the mama felt Nolan. The mama did not fucking fail Nolan. Nolan was a nice fucking kid, and I don't like that. Every parent do the best they can for their child. Okay, and like I said again, every child don't have to go to college to be a great child. You can graduate from 12th grade and still be successful and a great child. But to keep saying this mother felt her son, no. She let her son go off and have a great time because she knew July the 5th he was going away to college, just like my daughter did. My daughter allowed her daughter to go out and have a good time for the 4th of July because she knew that her daughter was going off to college July the 5th like she did. What was wrong with that? It was nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with letting this son go off and enjoy himself. And I'm sick of hearing people say that about that woman and her husband.
He was seen on the island. I think just your point of view on his personality is interesting. I mean, there were rumblings that he may have gotten into an argument, that there might have been a confrontation or something like that. I mean, was he a guy who would stand up, you know, where, you know, his hackles would go up, or was he more of a get-along type guy?
He more of a get-along type guy. Don't get me wrong. Now, if something happened, he'll defend himself. But I knew right then in that video that wasn't Nolan. But out of respect,
he probably do, James. And you know what, James? A lot of people probably know it is, but some people have to stay professional when they come on platforms. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna just call it out, but they know in their heart. Like sometimes we know a lot of things that go on that people say and do in real life that we know what's behind it. But you know, some people try to, you know, be professional with it. You got some people ain't professional with it. They straight out blunt with their shit. You know what I mean? And maybe, you know, being that the mother and father, they're grieving right now. They're at that vulnerable moment right now. He's so close. You know, he was close to the son, so he's close to the mom and dad. Maybe he just want to be respectful with his words because of the family.
The person that I knew who it was, I waited until he spoke about it. And then, you know, I told people, oh, yes, that's who that was in the video, was another person, another kid that I, you know, taught at Ocean Springs.
Yes, that's the only support, sweetheart.
And I knew exactly that wasn't Nolan during that time.
So, you know, there's been some talk about one of the theories is that.
Okay, pause. So that was. Did you hear what he said? Just back it up just a little bit, Andy, because I want to hear the explanation just a little bit. That was an example of what I said in the monologue this morning about it wasn't the family's job. It's not even the friend's job to dispel misinformation. It's law enforcement's job. And he's saying, I heard it and I knew it was somebody else's voice, but I wanted to wait for blah, blah, blah. Listen to it.
The person that I knew who it was, I waited until he spoke about it. And then, you know, I told people, oh, yes, that's who that was in the video, was another person, another kid that I, you know, taught at Ocean Springs. And I knew exactly that wasn't Nolan during that time.
Pause. So why have... I mean, look, y'all, I'm not trying to stir up no shit. Right?
Sis, you don't need an account for that. That's my account. You don't need an account for that. You just click on it and follow the directions. You don't need an account for that.
Why haven't they spoken to this man? And that was, remember my point where Yeah, well, at first I told Daniel, our Washington D.C.
when you click on
correspondent,
the link, that's my account.
it's not smart
you don't
for
need an
the
account for
to
that.
ever speak to
Those
law
supporters
enforcement
don't need an
without
account for
an attorney and
for
blah
that.
blah blah.
They
Okay, I
just
get
buy
it.
it.
Unless you're like that's if you're someone is you're in the vicinity, as they say.
Yeah,
that's
you can
if
hit
you're
the
in
link.
the vicinity. If you're not in the vicinity, if you're just across on another boat, or you're just someone in the neighborhood, that's a whole nother show. And so this man knew this, and he told people, why don't the popo know that?
Y'all, I'm gonna be honest. It seems like to me, a lot of people in Mississippi is scared. Maybe they always been scared because maybe they always knew how Mississippi was. That's just my belief. And also what the judge said early on in this live when I played his video. Did y'all hear what he said in the live early? How Mississippi was and them people was getting all with oh Lord. Y'all can go back and watch it. A lot of people probably scared, y'all. You know, a lot of people is scared. Yeah.
Know that. What does the police know that? I mean, am I wrong? It's a little weird. Keep going.
So there's been some talk about one of the theories is that that he was drinking.
Open book. If you in the chat, I don't know if open book in the chat. Or is anybody in the chat that have bought a coffee for me before? Could y'all guide her how to do it? How to buy the coffee? If anybody in the chat that has bought one before, I don't know if open book in the chat. I don't know if Brittany in the chat because I know she have. Both of my Britneys have. Brittany, could you guide 1723 how to buy coffee? Could you tell her in the chat how to do it? If you don't mind, baby.
Drinking, and that there was a riptide that day, and that maybe he got caught in a bad current out there.
No, Ray, I ain't seen the girl.
Knowing him as an
look
athlete,
at it. What is it?
And we've heard that he did know how to swim. Would that surprise you if he ended up in that situation, just from what you know about him as an athlete?
Yes, I mean, it would surprise me, that happened, but like I said, man, I'm just waiting till the family, give out, details of what they done gathered, since, his body been recovered. I don't want to, put no information out there and speculate and add more fuel to the fire. So I'm just really sitting back, waiting on the family to give, the public, more facts about the case, because as sensitive as the case is, I don't want to start no rumors or have nobody saying that coach said this and that ain't true. So now I'm just sitting back, waiting on the family to give the public, details about it, and I think in due time that information will come out.
And finally,
why haven't the cops spoken to him? Why? Somebody. Okay, keep going.
Look, there's a reality to life these days. Was there racial tension at the school? I mean, you were certainly able to observe, and it's something people are talking
in the chat
about.
help her, please, with
whether
the coffee
it's
link.
a factor at all.
Can somebody in the chat help her? She need help, y'all. To tell her what to do, to click on or whatever when she hit the link. Remember, Mississippi is the Montana state, and jobs are scared down there. That's why they're not so many people are talking. Yeah. Hey, Stacy. Yeah. And see, we don't know if he talked to the police or not. He could have. A lot of people just not want to say. A lot of people get on these platforms. They're not going to say if they spoke to the police or not. They're going to keep that a secret and have people made thinking, well, I haven't talked to the police, right? But in their heart, they know they talk to the police. It's just certain things that people just not going to say. You know what I'm saying? Because they have to protect their stuff too. Shit, they live down there. Shit, it sounds like it's dangerous down there. Shit. God, Jesus Christ. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I'm glad you cleared that up. I'm so sorry. Thank you for saying that. Okay, Brittany asking you what the link is saying. Stacey, how you been, love? I haven't seen you. How you been? I hope everything been good with you, sweetie.
At all or not? Was there racial tension at this school?
No, I don't think it was no racial intention at the school. From my experience, cause you have predominant white school, you have black kids there, and they all played and grew up together and got along. Now some stuff might have happened that I didn't see, so I can't speak wholeheartedly on it. But from what I did see, it was a tight knit community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Tracy, we really appreciate you sharing.
He said there's no. Now, they asked him if there were racial tensions, and then I think he said there were no racial intentions. So I'm not sure that he understood the question. No shade. No shade. But I went to, this is back in the.
And maybe he's saying that because he don't want to put it out there like that. Again, because y'all remember the mother and father said they not leaving that overturned. Meaning they're not taking that out of the equation. Okay? So maybe that's what he felt too. Don Lemon is funny. I'm good, Miss D. I'm glad I finally caught you. Okay, Stacey. Thank you, baby.
In the day when I was in high school, and it was predominantly white, but there were a number of black kids there, and there were no racial, I believe, intentions, but there was racial tension. Do I want to say it that way? Like most people did not know. They didn't know if it was, if something was racist or not. I think when you're that young, people don't know. I'm just recalling my days in high school, and my experience since.
Brittany, he responded
of the very people
back
I went to
you.
high school. Not all of them, but a large number of them. I wouldn't even want them petting my dog for the racist and bigoted and vile shit that they spew on social media. I don't even read it, but people tell me, did you?
Y'all, if the judge moved away from Mississippi, y'all know it, babe. God darn, if the judge moved away from Mississippi and built a new life, y'all already know what it is. Come on, people. Shaking my head, Mississippi was all, baby, I believe it, James. Okay, you got it. Okay, you got it. Okay, I just got a coffee. I don't know if that's you because I don't want to say your name. Because I don't like calling out people government names. I don't like doing that. Just let me know if it was you.
Do you see what Ben said about you?
Thank you so much, Brittany. No, appreciate you.
It's either racism or jealousy or both. Or ignorance. You guys with me? I think that I actually think that racism is
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I ain't even gonna hold you. I ain't gonna sit here and say I don't like white people. I do like I have run into some nice ones. I ain't even gonna lie. I really have, But like being acquainted with them like Nolan was, I was never like that with them. But I have ran into some beautiful white people. I have two granddaughters. Their dad is Philippine. I have another granddaughter. Her mom is Spanish, So yeah, I'm not gonna say all white people is bad, I just feel all of them is not, but I just believe in certain states is very racist. I do definitely believe that. I ain't gonna take that out. I definitely do believe some states is racist. Yes. You said no, it wasn't me. Okay. I know when the coffees come in because I get
Health
a
issue.
notification.
I do. I think it's like it's an irrational mental health issue.
Like you said, Misty.
Now we're awaiting that press conference.
Yes,
Again, it's
James.
supposed to start now, but so far,
yes,
no.
James.
Do we even have a setup? Do we have a shot of a podium yet? Anything?
No, nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Okay. So we're going to hear, as you guys know, the Reverend Al Sharpton has joined the case. We'll hear from Reverend Al Sharpton after this word from our sponsor.
Latte.
Okay, I have a question for you. If your freedom to practice your religion matters, shouldn't someone else's freedom not to practice one matter too?
It was me.
That's really what the First Amendment is about.
Thank you.
Lately, we have seen more debates about religion in public schools, government buildings, and public life. Just look at what's happening in the states like Texas. Reasonable people can disagree about religion, but the Constitution says government shouldn't choose sides. That's what the Freedom from Religion Foundation works to protect. Not religion, not non-religion, freedom of conscience for everyone. Whether you are deeply religious, not religious at all, or somewhere in between, those.
And I don't know if y'all know y'all, but Carmela mom, she's Philippine too, y'all. I don't know if y'all knew that. Carmela mom is Philippine also.
Constitutional protections belong to all of us. Visit ffrf.us/Don or text Don to 511-511 to learn more or join. That's Don to 511-511. Text fees may apply. You know what's funny? People assume because I'm out interviewing people, traveling, or getting ready for a live show that everything else just stops. It doesn't. And while I'm working, people are buying merch, orders are getting processed, customers are checking out.
Do it, it's fine.
My business keeps moving, even when I'm nowhere near the desk. And that's why we use Shopify. Shopify doesn't just help you build a website. It powers our merch store and it handles the checkout, the payments, the fulfillment, so that I'm not sitting around packing t-shirts into boxes all day. Instead, I get to spend my time making this show. So if you're building a business,
the case, and we needed
4 hours. It should be.
There was no foul play, and I think that we need to have independent prosecutor investigate the case, and we need the toxicology report as we prepare for a funeral that is going to be devastating for this family.
Right,
and that
Lisa,
funeral,
that's what I said too.
As we reported first here. The funeral is on Monday. We also reported this meeting with the DA as well in our Lucky Lemon 7 newsletter that you can get. It's over on Substack, so go check it out every morning at 7 a.m. And a lot of this information we have broken right here on the Don Lemon Show. So go check out our newsletter. It has some new information on that and 7 stories that you need to know before you start your day or throughout your day or at the end of your day, because we will update as well. But we talk about that. And we also talk about, some other stories here in our Lucky Lemon 7 newsletter. Okay. So there's also the ICE story that we need to get to.
I don't want to hear it.
You take a couple classes. So why are the parents doing that? And why are the parents going to retrieve the keys and all that stuff? That should be like everything is getting all mixed up and jumbled. People who should have been spoken to days ago have not been spoken to. Like, what is there some sort of forensics they'll do it on the keys or on the phone? I don't know. They should be.
I told him it was okay, Brittany.
That's what it sounds like to me.
If he can't do it, it's okay.
Anyway, keep going.
There was no foul play. I think they have to answer, have they interrogated the 3 young men? I think they have to answer where there's a reported a video of the young men and him being Nolan arguing. And he said something about his freaking phone. Well, what is on that tape? What are they arguing about? And how did you not question them about the argument? There's a lot of things that law enforcement would have to answer.
Rev is right. And look, at the end of all this, as we have said, it could very well turn out to be something that we don't know, right? It could very well turn out to be something that we don't know. It could turn out to be an accident. It could turn out to be a drowning. It could turn out to be a fight. It could turn out to be somebody didn't like him because he was black. It could turn out to be he was with a girl that they didn't like. And, they were like, who are you? Why are you with her? Get away from my daughter, my cousin, or that young lady. And, there was an altercation. It could be anything. But I'm telling you, there's something weird about this investigation. Maybe they thought, maybe in that town or in that county, they think yes, we are the deciders. We get to decide. The coroner says the cause of death is it. Closed book. That's it. We're done. And it's over. No, it doesn't work that way. The Reverend Al Sharpton talking about whether or not the sheriff has all the evidence needed.
I think that the evidence that is needed to build on is already there. Have they brought these 3 young men in for questioning under oath?
Brittany, check your phone.
Have they gone through a search of fingerprints and other things on the cell phone? Either they are doing policing or they're doing covering up. And that is why Ben Crump and Nash X Network and I got involved. The real unfortunate part is with this present administration in Washington, Donald Trump. You can't even say, as we've said historically, whether it was from Abner Louima in the 90s to George Floyd a couple of years ago, we'll go get the feds. You can't get this Justice Department. What we can do, though, is go to state court and sue and depose these young men on what they were doing. So there's going to be a legal strategy that Ben Crump, who's the best at it, will do. I'm going to continue to stand with the family and mobilize people around the country so that this does not go off the minds of the American public.
So, Rev, thank you for that. And Rev is right. Rev is right. So I think because man, you guys are so engaged. You guys, would you like me to open up the phone lines? Let me know. I think we could get it going. Let's open up the phone lines and let's talk about this as we wait on this press conference. But the more I hear about this, and Reese Colbert said it yesterday. There's a reason there's a show called The First 48, is because that's the most important part of the investigation. And it seems to me like these investigators spent the first 48 hours having already decided, as he said, that they are looking at this as an accident.
I think they was looking at it before, in the beginning, as an accident, but I don't think they looking at it like that now. And the reason why they're not looking at it like that now, because they know the media is putting pressure on them. Okay? The media is putting pressure on them. And they don't want that pressure. So I don't think they think like that now, but in the beginning, I think that's what they really was thinking. And I think they wanted people to fly with that. But they knew that the people was not going to fly with that bullshit.
Is kind of mind-boggling. I mean, think about it. Mind-boggling. Whether race was a factor. Here's a reverend.
I will say this. I do not know that race played a role, but I do not know race did not play a role. So I think you've got to put all of that on the table. How does anybody say that, oh, no, race played no role unless you know the 3 guys and the 3 guys were forthcoming? I certainly think you got to look at the possibility of racism at different levels. 1, were any of the 3 guys racist? All right. 2, were the prosecutors and the enforcement when the body was found? Is there a racial double standard there?
That's
Many
right.
of us
Look at
feel
everything.
that there were 3 black guys and a white kid was missing, they would have held them probably in custody and certainly had them seriously under scrutiny on if it was the reverse, in our opinion. But the family has said they don't want to say race, but they don't want it taken off the table. How do we know, particularly when you have a sheriff saying there was no foul play?
Okay. I want to go now to Asia from Las Vegas. Asia.
Hi, Don.
Good morning. Still morning in Vegas. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm calling because there's one thing I think a lot of people are maybe forgetting or don't know. Like when Monique was on yesterday and she was talking about the rush for confirmation, a rush for law enforcement to release information and things of that nature. I used to be just like that, especially like with the case with the Idaho murders. This is one case that I remember recently that I followed very, very closely because I'm really into like true crime. And I was wondering why they weren't saying anything, and the community was upset, and there was a lot of misinformation that was going around. Some of the families had hired private investigators and stuff like that, just like what's going on now. And what they didn't know is what law enforcement knew, but law enforcement weren't holding conferences just like they're doing now. I'm not saying, of course, it's the same, because I do believe there is race being at play at this time. But I've learned since that case not to rush to judgment and rush to misinformation or conspiracies, because they knew a lot that we didn't know. And 2 months later, they had a suspect and an arrest that was no one even knew anything about. And at that time, the family had to step back and they had to say, oh, okay, well, you did know. And they just weren't sharing. And maybe that's not correct. And maybe in this time, maybe that's not how things should be done. But in that case, it kind of pushed me back to say, okay, maybe we don't have to know everything at every moment. And maybe we don't even need an update at every moment, because they weren't even doing that. They were just saying, we'll let you know when we know. And they let us know when they knew. And when they knew, they knew.
So, no, I don't agree with that. What I do believe that they was trying to say this was a suicide and they was going to close that case the fuck up. That's what the fuck they was going to do. Okay, but like I said, when that media kept putting pressure on them that something was not right, and that family gained being crump, and everybody started getting involved, social media all around, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everybody coming out with this story. This story is getting hectic. They changed their goddamn mind that they knew motherfuckers wasn't going to go for that. He drowned in that water on his own. No. Okay? Pressure was put on him, and he bounced back. They all bounced back.
So I don't know if, that will help some people, whatever. But also one last thing I want to say is that the comments that I'm reading are kind of concerning, because it seems like a lot of people would rather it be something nefarious that happened instead of just, like Monique said yesterday, hopefully it was just a tragic accident. Like, I'm with Monique. I hope it is just a tragic accident. But it seems like if it is, will people even buy it? That's my question.
Yeah, we will, but we know it was.
Well,
that's
thank you, Asia. I appreciate your perspective, and that's why we have you guys calling in. Having a cadence, as I said, and updating people is not. I don't believe they have to give away information. They can just say, "I can't speak to that," or "We're going to be back with you tomorrow. We have no more new information. I know that you want it."
Yeah, and why y'all just didn't come out and say, we're not going to say it's foul play. We don't know what it is at this point. We still doing our investigation. Things take a little time. Just give us a little time. Give us a little space. I know everybody wants questions and answers to everything what happened to Nolan. We are here to give it to y'all, but just be a little patient. You should have came out and said something. Okay, you didn't say nothing, because the simple fact, again, you wanted to shove this shit off as this was a suicide. And you see, mother sucker, we wasn't having that, because we knew it wasn't a suicide. It don't take nothing to give a press conference maybe once a week. It's okay. It's okay. And we're not saying that you're supposed to come out here and tell us everything, because we know as an investigation, I hope people know that as detectives, you cannot say everything. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell what the left hand is doing. I understand that too. But I felt like something should have been said. Yes, absolutely.
And that doesn't require a lot of effort at all. Most of the time, it just requires walking outside of your building in front of a group of press people, a group of reporters, and just standing there and talking and saying,
absolutely. I played
there's no update on this. I do want to tell you the photograph is not what you think it is. It was taken a week or whatever before. And so that rumor is dispelled. We have we're aware of the young man who's been on the news. Yes, we are aware of that, but we have no update on that, and we'll let you know as soon as possible. Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow at noon, and walk back in your office. That's it.
That's true.
Because I think the family deserves that, and I think at least they should make some sort of effort in the case to try to be public servants to the public.
That's right.
Well, thank you, Asia.
I agree.
Who do we have up next? Wow, a lot of folks. Dawn, calling from Georgia. Hi, Dawn. Dawn.
Try to make us shut up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Hello?
Hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Hey, how are you? So I'm calling. This is what my question is. I understand what you were saying, and I understood what Monique was saying yesterday. So do we want we would be okay with the police officers or the sheriff's officer or whoever it is coming out every day and just saying, we are investigated, we don't have any updates? Because and that's the question, because my thought process is that if they did that every day, then people would get upset with that. And then my second,
ain't nobody saying he got to do that shit every day. Ain't nobody expecting him to do that every day. But he could have did at least once a week, okay? Or maybe every other day. But he have not done it fucking at all. That's what we're saying.
Statement would be is if we're looking at, I understand people want to know in this day and age, they want to know everything about everybody right now. And if we look at the stupid administration that's out there now, every time something happens with one of the immigrants, they come out quickly and say something, and then they gotta bring it back. So, I mean, we all know that they're lying, but I'm just wondering, is that what the people are asking for? That they want them to come out and say something every day, even if they then have to walk it back?
I think the people want transparency is what I think the people want in this case. And it's not a matter of walking it back. So if people get mad, they get mad. Okay. Right. But I think that it's very important. I think the press serves a very important purpose in this society. And sometimes that purpose is to put pressure on our leaders, the powerful, to be more transparent and to be accountable. So if you just sort of sit back and wait and say, okay, well, there's no whatever, we don't need to investigate this, then what is the point of the investigation? What is the point of having investigative journalists? Many times information is forced because of that. Because the press.
I'm not saying
exactly, Stacey.
I'm not saying just wait, just sit back and wait. I mean,
I don't know what you're saying. Shit.
Okay. We lost Dawn. Okay. I understand what you're saying, okay. Dawn. I'm sorry. We have to go. We got breaking news, and we have some folks. So thank you for calling in. I want to bring in.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hang on. Okay. Thank you. There's a lot of moving parts happening right now. Representative. Is the representative here? I just want to make sure. He is. Okay. Representative Justin Pearson is here. Thank you, Rep. I appreciate you joining us. He's a representative from Tennessee, the state of Tennessee representative. Hi, how are you?
I am doing all right. Good to be with you.
Man, I'm going to get to serious. I'm digging the shirt though, but let's talk about this Nolan Wells case, because I know you've been following it, and I think that there's a need for more transparency. That's just me. I think the more transparent, the better. The more pressure put on the investigators, I believe, the better, just like sometimes the more pressure put on our lawmakers, I think the better, to force them to be transparent. At the end of the day, they're all, you and the police, are public servants. Do you disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that at all. And you're absolutely right. We deserve more transparency. This family deserves more answers and an understanding about what happened to their beloved child. And right now, we're in this period and in this moment that seems so dark a lot for Black Americans and for Black people, whether it be Nolan Wells here in Memphis, Tyron Johnson, and several other people who've been killed by Trump's task force. Like, it seems literally like there's a war on Black Americans and Black young men in particular. And so more transparency from public servants should be the expectation, I think, of the people in our communities and all across this country right now.
Especially with this, well, not administration, this regime right now. And also the FBI, I believe, is on the ground there as well. And what influence that they might have in this investigation. It's odd that the FBI chose this place and this.
And y'all, it is odd that the FBI got involved, y'all. That's why I'm telling y'all, I do believe it's going to be some arrests made, and that's what we want. And again, I want everybody to take a picture of these mother suckers, because we need to see them, and we need to know how much their bond is. We need to know what the charges is. We need to know all of that. Okay, we need to know that. Yeah, you need to know that. And go get the
story
mama with the
to
boat
be involved
too.
with, to insert themselves in.
Too.
Strange.
It is strange. And some of the involvement that we've been seeing from this regime in local matters should give all of us pause. And so we have the Unsafe Task Force here in Memphis and Shelby County. But we also saw in a fight against data centers here in Shelby County and in DeSoto County in Mississippi that the administration's Department of Justice asked for the court to ignore the Clean Air Act so that Elon Musk XAI could be used to help kill people in Iran. Right? These things are not just strange, they're a usurpation of what a democracy and democratic institutions are supposed to be doing. And honestly, that's why holding the administration, holding people in power accountable in all of these cases matters so much.
That's right.
Do you have any feeling on how long it took mainstream media a while to get up to speed, but folks on social media, folks in streaming were on this immediately. I just wonder how you feel about the attention that some stories get with certain people, and the attention that some stories don't get because of certain people.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Oftentimes, a lot of the huge media conglomerates are run by billionaires who are controlling and want a particular narrative to be pushed forward. And sometimes our stories break through, and oftentimes that does not happen because they have a very specific lens in which they are trying to get viewers, trying to get subscriptions, trying to get money. And when it comes to Black pain, that is not something that is oftentimes elevated. And we just have to be honest about that, which is why independent media and platforms are so important, because they provide opportunities to break through those media conglomerates and really break to the stories that people need to hear and understand if they are going to see holistically what is happening in our country and how democratic institutions, lowercase d, are failing overwhelmingly communities that have been marginalized and have been oppressed, and also are currently dealing with the travesty and the tragedies that come with systems that fail us over and over again and don't protect us or keep our community safe.
Someone in the comment section, thank you very much. I would
Really,
assume
Jay?
that to be true, but saying the island is federal and perhaps that's why the FBI is there.
Hey, my Karen.
But I would think, the investigation is being handled.
Oh, wow,
in Jackson
James, I
County,
didn't know
and that's
that.
not federal.
I'm not too sure about that portion, but I do think we have to watch what and when this administration gets involved, because people will use their privilege to silence the truth. And we've seen that happen over and over again by Donald Trump over the years. And we need to be skeptical and conscientious.
Everybody entitled to their opinion.
The coach of Nolan Wells, who is a Black man, said he didn't believe that there was any racial tension at the school. But does that, I don't know how that equates to what happened on the island.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is wherever you have people, there are going to be tensions.
Listen, I'm not racist. I don't care who come in my chat. As long as they respectable and respect the people that always come in my chat, I have no problem with that. I don't know how everybody else feels. That's how I feel.
And at times you could have a situation where a coach may not see things, but a student is feeling it. I've attended schools that have been white majority, and you could say that there weren't racial tensions, but there were people who would say things, would do things, stick bananas on your door, write the N-word in the bathroom. And that doesn't mean that that's everyone, but to just say there's a place where there's no racial tension, where racism does not exist, that's not this country. And that's not the socialization of people who are in this country, whether they be 18 years old or 88 years old. Now, if you went to an anti-racist school and they did anti-racist training at that school, that's one thing, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. And so I think it's too soon to say that had nothing to do with what has happened to Nolan. And I think it's the responsibility of everyone to be on the side of the family, on the side of his community, and fighting for justice for him.
Oh, okay, James, got you.
What has happened, because he's gone and he should not be.
We're joined by Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson here as we await. There's a press briefing that's going to happen now. The Wells-Wansley family and also Benjamin Crump, attorney, meeting with the DA. I would assume as we speak, and they're going to come out to that microphone and tell us what they heard, what they could share with us, and how that meeting went. So, what has stood out to you? What do you have most concerns about? I know you have some questions. I have questions about, well, where was the young lady that he was supposedly stayed back with? Why haven't they spoken to her? A lot of people are coming out speaking and said, they're giving, I believe, very important information. And when the reporter or the anchor says, have you been interviewed? Have you been contacted by law enforcement? They say no. What?
Yeah. And that's frustrating, right? When sometimes the media accounts that you're getting from people who are proximate to this young man are more than what seems to be being sought after by the law enforcement officers. So I think in this moment, what I am looking for is the same thing the families are looking for, are answers from the people who were near him, the young adults who were there in his last day, his last moments of life, and to hear what happened. Because this isn't just about Nolan's story, although it's so important. There are so many other Black children and Black communities that have suffered from these disappearances, from these losses of life, without any answers being given. And unfortunately, it's too many to count. And right now, I believe that all of those folks need to be interviewed to get a full picture of what has happened and who is accountable. And that isn't to put blame on the people or the kids that he was with.
I'm telling y'all, them mother suckers should have had their phones taken. One should have been flying everywhere for the phones, the bulbs, social media, the house, everything. And see, again, that's why they came out and said that they think that this was suicide, because that's what they wanted to do. That's how they was going to end all of this quickly, fast, and in a hurry. But when they seen this pressure on their goddamn necks until their neck done turned red, black, and blue, they said, we better come back. We better come back. These people out here ain't trying to hear that. Hell no. We ain't trying to hear that bullshit. We ain't going for that shit. No.
With the young people he was with. But the truth of the matter is something happened, and there isn't a lot of folks coming forward about what those consequences and those instances were. Kids lawyering up and their parents telling them to get lawyers as the first thing raises a lot of red flags, where I think most people would be in mourning and grieving in a very particular way, in my mind. That doesn't seem to be happening in this case. And the fact that parents are already asserting, okay, what privileges do we have that we can exercise to protect our children, without really seeming to understand the full weight of the grief of Nolan's family and what they could be doing to help them. It concerns me.
Representative, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we did an entire show. Well, half of our show yesterday was dedicated to what you said, missing children, people who, was declared a suicide, and some of them had no autopsies. I don't know if you're familiar with the Julian Foundation, which is a civil rights organization that investigates these things. And we had a whole conversation with Ms. Jefferson. I think it's Joe Jefferson. But I know it was Ms. Jefferson yesterday. Yeah.
I think that's really important. And I mean, you've seen those instances that really worried me where, I've lost a brother tragically by gun suicide December 1st, 2024, call 988 if you're ever struggling. But there are these instances where Black people are being hanged from trees. And they're said, oh, we're going to rule these things as suicide. And to your point, without autopsies, without there being real attention to detail about what were the circumstances leading up to this and full investigations being done. And so when cases like that continue to happen, and now they don't just have local ripple effects, we're hearing about them nationally, it should raise a lot of alarms and a lot of red flags for anybody who is of good conscience and goodwill. So, well, why aren't these being investigated the same way that it would be if this was a young white child? And I think ultimately the fear that people have of the way that law enforcement operates, DAs operate, is because they're not operating with the lens of equal justice under the law. There is no color blindness. Overwhelmingly, Black families and Black communities are prosecuted most. But then when we are the victims of crime, we get the least amount of support and benefits to help us understand the processes and actually get justice. And I've worked closely with the family. My classmate, was tragically murdered in 2023 on January 10th.
Ooh, I'm sorry
and I worked with his family to get justice. But it had been a difficult process because police officers weren't engaging. The DA wasn't engaging. And that's just the reality of what we're going through. Our pain and our suffering it gets elongated by systems that don't listen to us.
Why do you think this story resonates so much, especially with Black folks?
I think it resonates so much with Black folks because this could be any of our brother, our nephew, our sons. And it is also that is a continuation of a longevity of pain that we've had as it relates to the loss of young Black men, particularly in our country and in our community. But you just got to remember a couple of days ago, right? It was the 10th year anniversary of Sandra Bland's death, the Emmanuel 9, Philando Castile, and we all still remember Trayvon Martin, right? And in Memphis, particularly, he feels like a god brother now, but Tyree Nichols. Is fresh on our minds every single day. I mean, it is because this is, unfortunately, and it's really painful to say it like this, but this is a part of our life story, particularly in the 21st century, that young Black men are going missing, are dying, are being killed by people, by individuals, but also by systems of oppression and people in power consistently and regularly.
Exactly.
Representative, thank you. Look, I am,
absolutely.
I'm a huge fan and I'm very supportive of your work. You make us all proud. And you, I say this without to just use bad grammar, you ain't scared of nobody. And I'm not either. So I appreciate that about you. Keep up the great fight. And also I want to thank you for supporting independent journalism.
Absolutely.
No gatekeepers. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, keep the fight. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Representative Justin Pearson. Okay, so producers, I was just sending you if we should just leave the feed up because until there's a press conference, or should we just redirect everyone? What do y'all think? Leave it? I don't care. It's up to you. You can leave it.
I say we just leave it. Yeah, Nikki agrees. So
okay,
let's leave it.
All right. So we're going to leave it. We're going to leave the feed up, and I'm going to go prepare for another interview. I wish we had Daniel around because I could let him take over until we, get something, until the press conference happens. However, this is a really important event, and I want to know what information was shared with them, and if this in some way offers them some degree of comfort. Although at this point, I don't know what can when your child has died mysteriously and you feel like you're not getting any transparency.
They want answers.
So
and they want justice.
So
anything was foul play, they want justice. And I don't blame them.
Let's see who this person is coming out right now. Okay, that does not look like Ben Crump to me. Okay, guys, we're gonna leave the feed up. We're going to be in the questions. Hang on one second. I just want to make sure. Do we move our next guest, or can we? Do we know if our next guest can move or not?
And then they got there's some. Oh yeah, you know how they be calling out the YouTubers and stuff, right? Yeah, the YouTubers. They in court. 'Cause I heard one lady doing it. She said, "I'm a journalist." Okay, and who cares? Anybody can go to school to be a journalist. It don't take a long time. Take a couple of weeks or so to be a journalist and get a a license for that. That doesn't take a 4 and 5 years. If you just sit on your platform and try to put YouTubers down, that was in the courtroom that time for Carmelo. That's why I never paid her live, because I didn't like the things that she was saying. But I can tell you this, it's a lot of these YouTubers out here that get these stories out. Okay? It's a lot of these YouTubers out here that get these stories pushed out every single day. They get these stories out. And for you to stand on your platform and sit here and down the YouTubers and say that they're not really depressed, they're just YouTubers. Shame on you. But see, you didn't offend me when you said that. I watch your little live with your little slick ass mouth. You didn't offend me when you say that, because the simple fact, I know where my heart is at when I do get these stories out. You understand what I'm saying? I know where my heart is at, because I always tell myself this can be me one day with one of my kids, one of my family members, a close friend. You just don't know, and you want your story out. So don't sit here and try to downplay YouTubers because they're on their platforms helping families get their stories out. And we don't have to know these families personally and be friends with these families to help these families to get their stories out. So I wanted to say that.
This is all happening in real time, just so you know. Can we move the guest to 12:30 in case something happens?
Yeah, we asked them and waiting to hear back.
Haven't heard back.
Content
Okay.
creators called their stuff journalists.
So I'll give it just a couple more minutes. But again, this is supposed to start at 11 o'clock. And as I told you in the very, very beginning of this show, that it's not like clockwork with these events, because you don't know what they're talking about, how long it's going to take, obviously, but also what's going to be the reaction from the family and from the
Exactly, Stacey.
This is
exactly
something that is amicable, this discussion, or there could be some animus here because of how the investigation
Me too,
is
I
being
barely even watch
portrayed.
TV.
Now the question is, if they come out of this and say there's going to be arrests or whatever, that would be a big deal. I don't know if that's going to happen though. I don't feel that it's going to happen in this moment, because they're trying so hard, I feel, not to say anything. But hey, who knows? And according to the former judge in Mississippi, he was a former Mississippi judge. According to that judge, there is enough information that he believes should have led to an affidavit, to subpoenas, to search warrants, and ultimately to arrests. So that's what he believes. Yeah. Stand by. Okay, here they come. So there's a family, there's Ben Crump. Let's listen.
Good morning. I'm attorney Ben Crump, along with attorney Lisa Park, attorney Eric Hurts, Justin Preston, and Cliff Jones. We have the honor of representing the family of Nolan Wells. We have present with us his mother and father, Christine and Elmore. We've just had an opportunity to meet with District Attorney Angel McElgrath and some members of her team. We had a very respectful meeting. The thing I assume some of you may know, the thing to announce, she shared with the family that there will be a grand jury that she will turn this case over to once they have collected all the information and finished their investigation. We also agreed that we will have a mutual inspection of the cell phone with our experts and their experts. Attorney Eric Hurts is helping lead the investigation team with former law enforcement experts who are going to help us with the cell phone download. so everybody will be able to see at the same time what the cell phone has. We also talked about trying to make sure we dot every I and cross every T. I know that we're getting about 50 calls a day to 100 calls a day from people who were there on Horn Island, people who are familiar with individuals that were there on Horn Island. And so we continue to be steadfast in trying to get to the truth of why Nolan Wells is dead. At this time, we'll have Attorney Hertz say a few words, and then Christine and Elmore will just talk about the homegoing services and celebration for Nolan, and then we'll take a few of your questions. Attorney Eric Hertz.
Thank you. Right now, there's a lot of unanswered questions. We appreciate the district attorney meeting with us, but because of certain types of confidentiality that even the victims are not allowed to know, we did not get all the answers we want. We have an independent investigation going on that involves former law enforcement, federal agents that are going to be looking into all the different information we got. The calls are coming in and we're getting a lot of information. Some of the people that I spoke to are not talking with law enforcement here. We're going to be trying to get them to cooperate with each other because we want to make sure the narrative, which has been put out, is going to be corrected. So at this point, we just ask everybody to keep calling in if you have any information and let us know. And I personally, if we validate you're a legitimate call.
Because see, now they said, they're going to turn everything over to the grand jury once they get everything now, right? Meaning they probably got to wait for both autopsies to come back because they're going to use both autopsies. That's what they're probably really waiting on, them autopsies right there, because that's going to be the key point. Both of those autopsies, right? Then whatever that autopsy come back and they feel like that shit is murder, that's when they're going to take that shit to grand jury. And that's when the arrest warrant's going to start. But I do believe that they are waiting. I do believe that they are waiting for both of those autopsies to come back. And I believe those autopsies is going to be the key.
We'll call you and talk to you. And I thank you all for showing up today.
And now, Christine and Elmore will just share with you some details of the homegoing celebration for their son.
Hello, everyone. So, the homegoing celebration funeral will be held at Center Point Church in Ocean Springs. It is going to be, visitation will be 9 to 11, and then the funeral will start after that. The plan is for the repast because, again, we want to celebrate Nolan. And he would not want us to be sitting around crying and eating. And so what we're going to do is kind of have a party to celebrate him, and that'll be held at the Jackson County Fairgrounds. So we really do want to keep it for family and friends. We are going to allow media to come in as well. And lastly,
teammates.
Oh, absolutely. Teammates. We've already contacted Coach Les George because we want to make sure that those guys are there. Former teammates from high school, middle school, teams that he played against. You guys are all welcome. But of course, we want to make sure that our families for sure and close friends get there. So I do want to just say for those of you, again, if you are having protests, even the day of his service, I am asking you guys
let's say what really happened.
Peaceful. Nolan would never want any type of violence or anything like that. He was not that kind of person. So if you guys would, again, just be peaceful. And to the community, thank you so much. Just the outpouring of love, support. We've had some local officials. Mayor Casey Vaughn from Gaucher has reached out to us. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. He has it's almost been every day. He's been texting to check on us. Also, Jeffrey Hullum, thank you so much. He's been texting pretty much every day, receiving a lot of stories from Nolan's teachers, which just warms my heart.
Oh, that's
his
so
classmates, teammates. So again, for those of you who have donated to the GoFundMe, once again, I stress, if you are not financially able to, we're not begging for that money, okay? If you're not financially able to, we understand. We thank you for whatever you can give, but if you cannot, if you would, just keep us in your prayers. And to his friends, stay strong, and please just take care of your mental health, because I know this is a lot. It's a lot for us, and I know you guys are feeling some of that too. So thank you all.
Well said.
Are there any questions? Yes.
Attorney Crump, Skyler Henry here with CBS News. The last time that you spoke in a setting like this, I know you guys were hoping to get results back from an independent autopsy. I know you mentioned that Nolan has been sent to Washington D.C. Is there anything to share on that front?
Not at this time, but we hope soon, very soon. Obviously, we're concentrating on the funeral services, but hopefully shortly thereafter, we will be able to tell some findings of the preliminary autopsy. Still waiting on some things. And I also, while we're talking about funeral services, want to thank Mr. Tyler Perry for paying for the funeral. Absolutely. As well.
Yeah, shout out to Tyler Perry. He did his big one. You know, Tyler Perry said he had a nephew that was killed in prison years ago. And he said he never found out what happened, and the family never got justice for his loved one.
Well as Colin Kaepernick for helping to shoulder the expense of the independent autopsy. And I thank Reverend Al for agreeing to officiate the funeral services. Yes, sir.
Aaron Gilchrist with NBC News. Mr. and Mrs. Wansley, you said from the very beginning that for you, this was really about getting some answers about what happened to your son. Do you feel like after your meeting today, you have any more clarity on what happened?
Well, it was just a meeting where she talked about the process. She didn't tell us any information about the investigation too much, because those things are, as she said, her role and what she has to do.
Are you talking about the two black attorneys, Stacey?
But they still have questions, and that's not insignificant to this meeting. It's just in general. Every morning they wake up and there's a hole in their heart, and they are trying to say, what happened to my son? Obviously, you know, they feel strongly that he would not have just stayed behind. He wouldn't have left his cell phone. And so we're trying to get to those answers.
Attorney Crump, Brian Rose, GC Wire. There's been a lot of misinformation that's been spread online, especially the pool picture that was shared by you. And you had said that.
Well, I didn't share it. I reposted it. We're reposting everything. Let's make it clear. We're reposting everything because we're trying to get people to come in and call. And so we've said from the beginning, we're in a ferocious search for the truth. And so things out there.
And I'm glad he cleared that up. He's not saying that it's true. It's factual. He don't know. Like he said, they sharing everything. They leaving nothing unturned. Nothing. No stones unturned. They want everything out in the public so people can see it, so people can call in if they know about anything. He's not saying the pool party is true. He's not saying that, and I'm glad he cleared that up.
We are trying to post, ask people, do you know something about this? Let us know. Just because we repost does not mean that we authenticate anything. Look at our social media. We have always been very careful to say this is a repost, and we almost always give a declaration that that's what it is, a repost. And so
thank you. Yes, it did work. Thank you.
Continue to call about everything, videos, whatever interactions they saw, and thank God we are getting dozens of people calling every day saying, I was on Horn Island. This is what I saw. I know these individuals. This is what we know. They said, we understand the sheriff's investigation has hundreds of people calling too. And so the hope is that when this is presented to the grand jury, all relevant witnesses and evidence will be presented to them so that we can have a fair and impartial investigation into the death of Nolan Wells. We were very honest and candid with the district attorney, and she was honest and candid with us.
Yes, Stacey, I believe
our
that.
lived experiences tell us that we must question everything, everybody's role, law enforcement role. That is the lived experience of us as Black people in America. And we would be not honoring the ancestors' sacrifices for us if we did not be honest every chance we got when we talk to power. Yes, sir.
You mentioned the false narrative out there. Well, I've seen quite a few of those, so I was wondering if you could tell us which false narrative you're talking about so we can let people know it's not true. Was there a particular false narrative you were
There's a lot of narratives out there right now, and there's a lot of narratives we're going to try to investigate on. There's a lot of narratives out there right now. I'm not going to comment on any particular one, but whenever a case this big gets in the news, people try for whatever motivations, law enforcement or whoever, people that call in, try to set up a narrative so that people will follow the narrative. Our job is to cut through all the noise and find the truth. And the truth needs to be found by unbiased investigation, as well as unbiased lawyers and all the people that are out here, all you investigatory journalists and everyone else. We just ask that you keep an open mind until we get to the truth.
And one of the things I will say, we are trying desperately to figure it out. And we don't profess to have all the answers, but what we're trying. And so when people call and tell us this is this person, and then we get somebody saying that, no, this isn't that person, we're trying to balance it all. So we want to even be more careful ourselves to make certain that we're trying to get people to come forward. And there are a lot of people who have different perspectives. We're getting that just from the phone calls, that people who were there at the same time are saying different things. But we're going to get there. We're going to get to the truth.
So first, I
yes.
just want to say my deepest condolences to you, Christine, and Elmore. My heart hurts. I'm ready to feel WLOA scared home. But I want to go on and ask you, Attorney Bancroft, you say that you were talking about the process in there with the DA. Were any affidavits or possible prosecutions or criminal actions presented to her to be signed eventually, or do we know?
Yeah, and as she said, her role is confidential at this point, so she can maintain her prosecutorial independence. Obviously, I stressed to her very strenuously to say, we want you to zealously, you and the Sheriff's Department, to zealously investigate this matter. And Christine and Elmore share their life experiences too. We know through our lived experiences, our life experiences, and she said that's not how our office operates. But we know in America, in the South, certain people are investigated differently. And we shared that with her. We didn't, ask that she understand our perspective, but we said we should mutually try to understand each other's perspectives, where we're coming from. And we agreed that we would try to do that.
Where are we at in the investigation of autopsy? We're supposed to get back Friday?
Well, no, we like we said, we're waiting, let the doctors do what they do. They ain't got their autopsy back neither. So we're trying to get it right. And when we get it, we're going to share it. Yes,
that's what they're waiting on, y'all. I'm telling y'all.
Press conference, you said that you hear.
They both waiting for their autopsy, and like Scorpio said, they're waiting for the reports. And that's when they going to determine what really went wrong.
On the video, Nolan saying, "This
Yes.
is my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing?"
That's what a witness told us, and that's what we reported out. Then another witness had come forward and said, no, that was his voice. We have other witnesses who said there were other altercations. So, as Mr. Hurt said, we're trying to go through it all and so forth. And we'll be even more careful to say this is what a witness told us in the future.
And so your team hasn't been able to look into that and confirm whether it was or was not the one that said
No,
that.
we have audio people doing it, but we know certain people said it was him, and then certain people said it was not him.
Are you worried about the death threats and the violent kind of atmosphere on social media and how these fake videos and photos could play into
Oh
that?
my God, I saw a
Even
fake
with
video.
Nola's friends getting death threats.
We don't want anybody's life to be in harm's way just because we're trying to get to the truth of what happened.
Now, I agree with that. I don't want nobody to be getting threatened. I don't want nobody to be in harm's way, because of this situation. And we know this is a very tragic story. It's a big story. It's trending. But yeah, I'm not here to threaten anybody's lives or inbox them and threaten them. I'm not into all that. I cover stories and I leave it as that. I'm not with all the threatening stuff like that because I ain't going to jail behind covering those stories. That's one thing I'm not going to do. But I think people shouldn't do that. I think people should go ahead and wait and let everything play out on its own. Let the autopsy come back, the autopsy reports, and let all that stuff come back and see what it is. But you got to remember, sometimes people can track you down and find out who you are with those threats. So sometimes you have to definitely be careful with threatening people.
To Christine and Elmore's son, we saw fake videos about AI generated videos of Christine, and it's just god awful as they're grieving and trying to fight for the truth that they are also having to deal with these fake videos attacking them as they are just trying to literally bury their son next week. But we want everybody to say that we can go through this journey together for the truth. And even though we may have different viewpoints, we can all agree that everybody wants the truth and nobody life should be threatened for seeking the truth. Nobody should be, presumed accountable until we have evidence. His mother and father only want, and Christine has said it multiple times, she only wants what you would want. If this was your son, if this was your daughter, wouldn't you want desperately to get to the truth? Wouldn't you want people who were closest in proximity to what happened to be investigated and thoroughly investigated? We know that, if it was Nolan, how would he be investigated? So, one last question.
Really quickly, just curious about the dynamic that you guys have had, Christine and Elmore, with law enforcement up until this point. Have you all been able to speak with the sheriff, any of the lead investigators, since what happened last week?
So that was actually clarified in today's meeting. The DA's office wanted to take over that communications because they do have a victim advocate, which I appreciate. But of course, that wasn't what she, took responsibility and accountability for. But we were not communicated with that information. So for us, like I said before, the last time we actually spoke to someone with the sheriff's department was last Tuesday. That was via text message that I initiated, just asking for an update. So that's the biggest thing is, I appreciate that she took accountability for saying, hey, that was actually our doing. But, we have a setup now. And so the hope is that we'll have that open lines of communication.
So you feel like this was useful
And
today?
Attorney Hertz has a comment on that there.
Let me just say that under the law in Mississippi, a victim is entitled within, I think it's 72 hours to get an incident report and to have certain information shared. It's been more than 72 hours, and that's part of the meeting here today to start getting the incident report and all that information that we came here to collect, as well as listen to the district attorney and what she had to say.
Did you get that report?
No, not yet. We are working with them to say there need to be better communications with the clients and so forth. So the big things that we know, there's going to be a grand jury into the death of Nolan Wells, and number two, that we're going to have a mutual inspection of Nolan's cell phone. We just want to make sure everybody else's cell phone is also being downloaded. Thank you.
Exactly.
As far as when are the homegoing services?
Monday at 11. How do I get this on?
Okay. So that was Attorney Ben Crump and the other attorneys there who work for the,
Hey, Kimberly.
Crump firm.
So
much to say. And the
that's basically what I want y'all to see, the press conference.
Now, you heard that family, the
So-
attorney at the end saying that to get a victim report in Mississippi or in that county, it's 72 hours. They still don't have it.
Hold on. So I do think that it's going to be things going to happen. I'm just waiting for everything to come back. I'm going to wait patiently, like I've been doing, for everything to come back, y'all. That's all we can do. It's just set, wait till everything, comes back. But if that stuff was true, what that lady said that I played today, Hey, Kimberly girl, if that's true, what that lady said, because I can't confirm it, I just let y'all listen to what she said. I can't confirm if it's real or not. But what I will say, again, I hope she did not come on a public platform and spill out information like that. And if it's not true, I just hope not. But we'll see. We will definitely see. I'm gonna show pray and then you are able to get everything was deleted out of their phones. Yes, Stacy, yes, absolutely. Because that's what we want. That's what we want. Yep. I hope and pray it can be restored back. But it's always faith. You gotta keep that faith. Yeah. Because that was the first red flag right there when I first started covering the case. When I first started covering the case and heard the mom say that when she did that, I said, oh, nah, because why would you sit and delete things out of her phone if it wasn't foul play? If y'all didn't do anything to Nolan, if y'all didn't know what happened to Nolan, why would y'all delete things out the phone? And they're also going to go back and really, I think, too, listen to make sure that was Nolan saying, what are you doing? Give me my fucking phone. Because if this do go to a grand jury, they got to make sure that was Nolan saying that. So they want to have everything intact. They want to have everything well packed down together, y'all. That's what they want to do, So they probably got to get an expert to listen to that, to see if that was Nolan. All of that. So it's a lot of work to be done. Great live, Miss D. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much, Lisa. You do the same, baby. You do the same. So, y'all, that's all I got for today. I'm going to get them on off of here because I do got to make a run. I love you guys. Thank you guys for timing in. And I will see you guys same time, same place tomorrow. Y'all keep this family in prayers. And I want y'all to stay prayed up. And make sure y'all keep God first all the time in y'all life. Okay? Stay away from the evil, the negative, and just, keep going and stay prayed up at all times. That hit dog stuff. Oh, baby, won't they holler? Won't they holler, sis? Won't they holler all day long? Sometimes 2 and 3 times, 4 times a day. They will holler. You ain't lying about that. Thank you, Brittany. I will watch your replays, what I missed. Yes, okay. Okay, Kim. No problem. Yep. Thank you, Stacy. Thank y'all. So I will definitely see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Y'all be blessed. And I love each and every last one of y'all. Peace.